44 slingshot versus 44 gun. This will be an interesting test. I know I did 38 slingshot versus 38 gun and 32. But today we have 44. What's interesting about this test is it's going to be a lot more fair than my last few tests here. The slingshot I happen to have is the same one I had before, but I actually moved the forks forward, get a lot more draw length, and then I got this Marksman brand tapered slingshot. This adds a lot of velocity, especially with these heavier projectiles. And what I'm using today is 127 grain Spear 44 caliber lead balls. This will do a lot better than my previous tests. I know a lot of people said, well, you need to get tapered bands, flat bands, or all this other stuff that I honestly could not find. I searched and searched, and there's not a lot of slingshot stuff out there. But this is one of the things that I thought would help me, a tapered band. So 44, what I actually have is 44 Russian, Smith & Wesson Russian. If you don't know, it's basically the predecessor to the 44 Special. And here's a 44 Special in the middle there, 44 Russian on the left, and the 44 Magnum on the right there. A little bit of difference there. So I'm going to do my standard test here where I'm going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I get at the same time. But for my ballistic pack, I actually changed it up a little bit to be a little bit more realistic. In the past, I was using denim layers, and what would happen with that is I think that the denim was kind of pulling off from the pack and pushing in and not allowing that projectile to actually go through this. So what I have here is just a t-shirt stretched really tight. I think this will be a little bit more realistic, and then we're followed by 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard. This typically represents like a pectoral muscle followed by some ribs or sternum, and into water jugs to catch these projectiles or bullets. Normally, most defensive rounds stop in about the back of jug 3 and dent out the back, indicating about 15 inches comparison to ballistics gel. So we're going to do that, but also I have another test here. And here's my human skull analog. These are coconuts. I glued them to the board. A lot of people say that coconuts kind of represent a human skull. If you can break a coconut, then you know, you can break a human skull as well. I don't know how true that is, but I'm going to hit those with both the bullet and the slingshot projectile and see how they do. So let's get started with this test. First up, I have the slingshot. I'm about 10 feet from the chronograph, about 13, 14 feet from the target. And I did test these lead balls with the original yellow band, and I got about 150 feet per second. We'll see if this taper band increases that velocity. 171, definitely a difference there. No read. $179. $181. $185. I'm just going to take those numbers. That's not too bad. That's definitely an increase over that other band. So let's see how the actual 44 caliber gun does. All right, by the way, those lead balls for the slingshot were 127 grains. These bullets are 247 grains. So let's see what we get for these bullets. 640, 660, 699, 681, 679. A very consistent and low powered round, or low velocity round at least. So I think this will be a pretty good fair comparison in some respects. So let's hit the ballistic box and see how these two compare to each other. All right, first up I have the 44 caliber slingshot. I'm going to stand about this far back and just see if I can actually hit this. I'll try to do the best that I can. All right, it captured that. It went right through that denim, and it's in that pack. So I'm going to hit it another time and just see if it goes in that pack again and see if it does anything to the fiberboard on back. But that's pretty impressive that it actually went in it. So try it again. All right, interesting here. Actually did not hit the fiberboard at all, but it is pretty impressive that it actually went into it. And I'll have to try to open that up and just kind of see how far it is in there, because I don't currently know. So let's try the gun and see how that compares. All right, let's hit it with our 44 Russian handgun cartridge. Very low powered 44 cartridge, so let's see what it does. Water shot straight back at me. All right, here's our baloney pack. Obviously went straight through everything. The hole straight through it. Entrance and exit hole. Looks like there might be a tiny amount of bullet deformation going on. So let's see what we got in water jugs. First jug, we went right through that. Went through 2. Went through 3. Went through 4. Went through 5. Our bullet is in the 6th jug. That kind of indicates about 24 inches comparison to ballistics gel. Not a whole lot of deformation. Big old slug though. It's got a hollow base. Interesting. Let's hit the coconuts and see how these two compare to each other on coconut or our human skull analog. All right, I'm back about 7.5 yards. A little bit concerned about ricochets, which might happen, but what I have behind those coconuts that are glued on that board is I have about a half inch of the strand board. And if I miss this coconut, it'll just let me know what kind of impact it has on that wood. So I'll go for the one on the right there. See if I can hit it. Put my hands up because I'm a little bit nervous here. I have no idea what happened. I think I pulled that shot way high. This is difficult to do. For me, anyways. As much as I don't want to, I'm up a little bit closer. I gotta hit this. Okay, I can kind of see how it ricochets. It kind of ricochets up. All right, it looked like I hit it and it ricocheted right back at me. Doing some damage to the wood where it hits, that's for sure. There we go. All right, definitely cracked this thing. That's impressive. Now I'm gonna hit this one with the 44 Russian. All right, my fingers are completely numb, but I'm gonna hit that with the 44 Russian there. A little bit of a difference there, but we'll take a close-up look. So it looks like with that 44 Russian, there's actually lead, pieces of shaved lead. It broke it from its glue, or it was glued like this. It went right through that wood. So it basically went through both sides, but kind of just through the edge of it. Now, let's take a look at this. Let's definitely crack this thing. We're not really leaking necessarily, but that would definitely be something like maybe a skull fracture. I don't think it would hit in this particular slingshot, would hit into the brain, but that would be a pretty nasty wound. Very interesting here. So I'll finish these guys off with that 44 Russian. And that'll be a day. All right, I'm about 9 yards. We'll try to hit these again. Those Russians are hitting high for me. I'm gonna aim at the bottom on the tabletop. There we go. A few more. Kind of expect them to shoot kind of high because the bullets are probably leaving the muzzle after we get a little bit of muzzle rise. That happens with slow cartridges a lot. All right, so that's what you get today. 44 Slingshot versus pretty much the lowest powered 44 gun. Definitely not comparable. I actually had somebody again on one of my tests and say that a good Slingshot is more powerful than a 357 Magnum handgun. Is that true? There's just no way any Slingshot could ever have that much power. In fact, I don't think any of them can even get up to 50 foot-pounds, maybe. But certainly not in the range of even your lowest powered firearms. Does that mean they're bad? No. It just means you don't want to use them for self-defense. You don't want to use them, you know, to try to take down a large animal. They're fine for small game. And in a pinch, they will definitely cause some damage and wound somebody, but definitely not what I would consider fatal or anything like that. Although they could be, just like a pellet gun, it can be. So that's what you get today. Just wanted to do my test on that. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.